was asked recently, well, do you not teach your children evolution? And I said, we don't teach our children evolution as fact, but
Right.
we most definitely teach them what evolution is, what it's said to be, what that theory is.
You know, we were on the other side of this when we said, like you, that we would never homeschool. One of the reasons that I used to think I would never homeschool or didn't want to homeschool, that it wasn't right for our family, was because I thought, our girls are going to learn this stuff in the world. They're going to be exposed to the world. And so I thought I would rather them learn about evolution so that when they're home, we can debunk it and we can teach them truth. And I wanted them to do that under the protection of our umbrella as their parents. But I just didn't realize, and this was, of course, before we even had kids and before we decided to homeschool, what I didn't realize was the impact it would have. I never thought about, the almost 12,000 hours that they were going to be away from us being indoctrinated with this ideology that was contrary to God's truth. It didn't occur to me. I just thought, well, they're going to learn it anyway. And so let them learn it and then we'll debunk that. But then, once we dug deeper, of course, I was like, well, that's impossible.
Right. Well, and I'm curious because I get this question a lot. I think there's an assumption that because if you're a Christian homeschooler, that none of those alternate theories are introduced to your children.
Right.
So I was asked recently, well, do you not teach your children evolution? And I said, we don't teach our children evolution as fact,
Right.
but we most definitely teach them what evolution is, what it's said to be, what that theory is. And then we are able to look at it through a biblical lens and then explain why we don't believe that.
Right.
And we do that with other religions as well. I mean, we don't, it's such a misconception that homeschool children are in a box.
Right.
and they don't know anything that's happening in the real world.
Yeah.
We actually study all the religions, and then it helps them. And hopefully if you're a Christian, you're teaching apologetics too, so that your children can defend their faith.
Right.
So then when they look at other religions, and they should learn about those, that's my opinion, they should learn about the world and the other religions across the world. And then you, as the parent, can say, this is what they believe, and this is what we believe and why.
Right.
And you have that ability when you're homeschooling and it's parent-led and parent-directed.
Yeah.
And like you said, if your children are away from you for the majority of their formative years, you really don't know unless you're there with them all day, every day. And we all know that's not even a possibility because for the most part, parents have been locked out of schools because of COVID, at least for the last 2 years. So, even though there might, because I have parents that say, well, I'm there, I'm present, I go to school, I volunteer. Well, COVID ended that.
Yeah.
And I know very few parents, if any, who would be allowed to stay, all day long, every day.
Right. And if you're doing that, then you may as well just keep them home, sleep in.
Yeah.
Don't worry about preparing lunches.
Right, exactly.
And have your kids at home.
And that's another thing. Children are gone to public schools. They're throughout their formative years.
Yeah.
It's not like when a child grows up, hopefully if a child decides to go to college and they've been homeschooled, the parent has had all of their formative years to be able to help them to defend their faith.
Yeah.
So then when they enter the world, where they're going to, be slammed on all sides with, everything that society has to offer, good or bad, they have a strong foundation. So that's what homeschooling allows. It allows parents to impart, their faith and their knowledge and disciple them so that they can go out and handle these things, and handle life and handle the world through a biblical lens.